Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm continuing to work on my Margarete Miller Collage Weekly Planner, and we are to week number 51, so almost done. And before I get going any further, I just wanted to let you guys know it is raining outside, and I'm in our upper level of our house, so sometimes if it rains kind of hard, you can hear it on the ceiling. So if you do hear noises, it's just that it's raining outside. But getting back to the planner, again, I'm on week number 51. And again, Margarete Miller gives us prompts to create a collage with. And also my personal goal with this whole planner has always been in collaging is to just use up items from my stash. So as long as I'm not going out and buying anything new or printing anything off on my printer, it has to be something that's already in my stash or find it somewhere in the house to use on these. Then I'm happy. And then I'm also lately been trying to add other random things sitting on my desk, just trying to get rid of or use up as much stuff as I possibly can. So the first prompt for this week I am going to skip, but I will read it. It is origami or any type of folded paper. And I'm not very good at folding origami. I thought, well, I could just look it up on the computer and figure out how to fold a piece of my scrap paper. Or I could just fold a piece of scrap paper and put it on to my layout. But I decided just to go ahead and skip it. That's allowed. And then I'll use the bonus for sure. And so I'm going to skip the first one. And then the next item on the prompt list was anything that starts with a G. And so right away I thought about my Tim Holtz paper dolls. I have little girls in there. So that starts with a G, or else a gentleman. So they both start with G, so I could use one of these. And so I picked out a couple to play around with. The next item on the list is an herb or other fragrant plant. And I remembered I had this piece left over from a design team project that I made for Angel Dreams Crafts. I believe I decorated a composition notebook and maybe decorated a folder or made a little journal or something. But I used some stamped period paper and then, of course, laces and trims from Kim's shop. But I still had this piece left over from there, and it has lavender on it, which is a fragrant plant. It even says lavender on the little tag if you look at it really close. So I thought, well, it'd be perfect to use this piece up. So I'm going to use that as my herb or other fragrant plant. The next item on the list is an illustration, and so I went ahead and took out an illustration from one of my older vintage books. It's a bird book, and so there's a brown thrasher illustration on this side, or else a catbird on this side. They're both really fun birds to listen to. The catbird actually once in a while says meow, so that's kind of maybe why it's called the catbird. But they're both mimic birds, and they have some really fun songs to listen to. So I don't know which one I'm going to use. Probably the brown thrasher, but I'm just going to cut around the illustration, and that'll probably be my main focus on the page. So I'm going to use that as my illustration. And then the next one is a text in a language that is not in your native language or in English. And so I did find one more scrap. This is some German paper. Again, I had left over from a design team from Angel Dream Crafts Kim. And so I love this paper. It just has a nice texture to it. It's vintage and it's old. So I'll use that on my collage somehow. And then the last item is washi tape. And so since this was lavender or purple colored, I did pull out 2 different purple washi tapes that I had. And so I'll use one of those. And then other random things that I pulled out was just some double-sided paper. It went with this paper line, the stamped period paper line. And I was just thinking maybe if I needed another background piece or a layering piece, I could use up another piece of my scrap. So I did pull that out. And of course, I do have all sorts of random things sitting on my desk, so you never know what's going to end up on my layout. So to begin with, what I think I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut up this illustration. I'm just going to cut it down just so it'll fit the page a little bit better. And I am going to cut out the word brown thrasher in case I want to try and incorporate that into my layout somehow. I should remember what type of bird this is. I do, if you guys have been kind of following along on my channel for a while. In the summers, I actually help with some bird surveys in North Dakota. And the brown thrasher is a native bird that we hear in North Dakota. We also hear it in Minnesota also. So I'm very aware of what this bird is. And so like I said, I can add that somehow to the layout if I want it. And I think what I'm going to do like last week is I'm going to layer my papers on this side and then I'll glue them over here because they keep on falling off because I'm getting towards the end of the layout. So I think I have everything here to kind of play with. So I could layer this up towards the top and then put this towards the bottom possibly. And again, I do have these scrap papers that, you know, I could layer underneath here just to fill up the paper so you don't see the background if I want. So which I think I'll probably do that just to begin with at any rate. So there's that. You know, maybe I'll put this one up here for now, just in that background. You know, I could add the washi tape too, which I still might. So here's my paper in a foreign language. I'm going to add that right there. And see, then I also need the washi tape and one of the little people that starts with G. So I could have her sitting right there with a bird behind her. Or I could layer her right there. I think I've ruled out the gentleman. It's one of the little girls. I'm just trying to decide. She's carrying roses, and I don't know if I want roses competing with a lavender on here. So I think I'm going to go with her. So I'm going to go like that. I think that looks okay. And then what I'm wondering is I'm going to cut off this border down here, I think. And I think I'm going to use it, I'm just going to put the word brown thrasher on there. I'll glue that down. So I'm going to put that, I think, on top of this piece of paper, this German paper. And then, of course, I'll cut down my background papers. This is just playing with my current stash here. So this washi tape says "Be Wonderful." So I'm wondering if I possibly add it, you know, add it maybe right here and have it say "Be Wonderful" on my layout. I think, or I could put it there. I think I like it here. So I'm going to use it there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut down some of these purple papers so that they fit onto my layout. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down as it is, along with adding the little washi tape. And then we'll go through the prompts one more time together to make sure that I didn't miss anything other than the origami paper, which I'm choosing to not use. And I will be right back after I've glued everything down. So I just finished gluing everything down, and I'm going to go through the prompts one final time. Again, I skipped the first one, which was the origami. The next one was anything that starts with a G. I went ahead and used one of the Tim Holtz paper dolls for G for girl. The next one was an herb or other fragrant plant, and I'm using the lavender. Next one was an illustration, and in the background you can see an illustration of the brown thrasher bird that I used. Next one is text in a language that is not your native language or in English, and so I have some German paper back here in the background. And then the final, which is bonus, which I have to use that since I chose to not use the origami. The bonus was washi tape, and I stuck this washi tape, which says Be Wonderful. I stuck that across the bottom. And then I also had this purple washi tape right here, and I went ahead and added that to the side just to provide a little bit more interest. And then any of the other purples that you see in the backgrounds are just scrap pieces of paper that I'm using to get rid of items from my stash. And so that is my completed collage for this week. Again, that was week number 51. And I will be back next week for our final week, which is week number 52. Hope to see you then. And until then, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.